Hi, Mr. Wonderful here, and I'm doing a big shout out for Hannah Ingram. Why? Sounds like a great teacher to me because you students want to buy a laundromat or a car wash? Good idea. Why? Those are cash flow businesses. This is all about managing the business to maximize cash flow and keep customers happy. Now, this is a fantastic way to learn your chops as being an entrepreneur, no question about that. But remember, when you buy a business like this, who's number one? The customer. Who's number two? The customer. Who's number three? The customer. You get that right and they keep coming back and they keep supporting your initiative. You want to take care of them. You got to get your pricing right. You got to make sure it's going to work beyond 24/7 if you're open, if you're that kind of a laundromat. Car washes, I love those businesses. Everybody wants to keep their car clean. It's a cash flow business. Which either one you choose, work with Hannah to nail this. That's the key. Entrepreneurship is not a destination. It's a journey. You gotta keep working every day, and you gotta work real hard, and you want success. You learn so much from a business like this, and in the end, I hope you're successful. But remember, it's all about the cash flow, as I like to say. Anyways, good luck, kids. Thank you, Hannah. Take care, everybody. Now stop listening to me and get to work.
Just have like just a conversation. Just you kind of tell your story and whatnot. I know you texted to me on Instagram. I think you said you had was it a laundromat with like a rental in it or something?
Yes, it's actually on the car wash property. There's a rental, 3 bedroom, 2 bath, uh, behind it. So it's on the same property, and then the laundromat's right down the street.
Nice. Okay, so what did you get into first?
I jumped into all three at the same time. It was the same owner, and um, I had taken like printed out notes and put them in envelopes and just
Hmm.
started shoving them under car wash doors. And he was one of the guys that actually called me back. And it's not in the same town that I live in. It's 45 minutes away.
Okay.
But he was wanting to start the retirement process, and so he went with his furthest businesses out,
Yeah.
and then he had actually the plan is to sell them all to me using owner financing, and
Wow.
eventually I would take over. He only has the one laundromat, but eventually I would take over all his car washes.
Wow. With owner financing.
Yep.
That's awesome.
So we met up to kind of just see what, meet each other and see what, he was looking for versus what I was looking for. And he was a little skeptical, because he had actually tried the owner financing before
Mm,
and it didn't work out.
yeah.
So he was, but after we met and talked, he said he felt more comfortable with it, but he still hadn't made up his mind.
So you did
Yeah.
the driving for dollars and slid the notes under. How many notes do you think you slid under there before you got that call back?
Uh, I would say probably 8 to 10.
Wow. Very good result.
Yeah.
That's great. So
Yeah.
basically, this guy had done owner financing before. It didn't work out. So he was kind of, scarred from that a little bit. And then you kind of got in there and just kind of eased his mind, made him feel comfortable. And he was kind of reconsidered, right? Just like, hey.
Yes.
So how many businesses does he have total that you're gonna he's wanting to eventually you take over with the owner financing?
I think it's 5.
Five. Okay,
Um,
sweet.
yeah, I can't remember because honestly, I kind of felt weird, like just being like, oh, so where is this one? Where, like I just
Yeah,
kind of like
yeah,
let it
yeah.
kind of flow because we're kind of still getting to know each other. But I mean,
Okay.
he's the property that I just recently purchased from him. He had for 13 years,
Okay.
and I think it was one of the last ones that he had. Um,
Gotcha.
but yeah, the next one he's got in another town that's just a little bit closer to where I live.
Yeah.
And he said that's the next one to go, but he just doesn't know when yet.
Gotcha. That's awesome. That's cool. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think in on the Instagram message you said you were you on the training or were you like in the playbook or like from TikTok? Like, how did you even come across the stuff?
I want to say it was on TikTok. I don't remember. But then I did like the scheduled class that you had put on. Um, yeah, and that's how I got started. And I started following you and a couple other people on like Instagram that had car washes, and it was just very intriguing.
Yeah, for sure. Have you been enjoying it, running it so far?
I have. Yeah, it's been an experience. So kind of going back a little bit. So the rental property that's on the car wash location, there's actually a guy that lives there. Since I don't live in that same town, he watches everything for me. So he goes and opens and closes the laundromat and just kind of like that's his whole job. So he just stays at home and does that. And he's on point because as soon as I was interested in, I went up there to look at it, you know, the owner was like, "Hey man, like I haven't said anything about selling. This kind of came out of nowhere. Just go take a look and see what you think." So, I mean, I wasn't on location, but like maybe a minute, and he was already outside, like asking me, if I needed any help with anything.
Nice.
So, but yeah, he just takes care of it, and the deal is, I pay his utilities, and he just lives there, so takes care of it for me.
That's nice. So you don't even really go there much, since you have someone maintain it, right?
Yeah, I go once a week. That's it.
That's awesome. So how has having this now, you've got this stream, how has it changed your life since you've gotten it?
Um, it's definitely a learning curve. This is the first time I've ever stepped out to do this, but it's been exciting. And it's just I've learned a lot. Like I have already worked on all sorts of stuff and trying to learn as much as I can as quickly as I can. And he's the owner that I bought it from. He's been really, really good at any kind of questions I have, or if I don't know how to fix something and he can't explain it to me over the phone, he'll go out there and show me, and we'll work on it together.
That's awesome. And so from the time that you attended the training and kind of learned about like the owner finance, creative finance and everything, how long from that day did it take for you to actually close on it? Like what was kind of the time span in there?
Oh, I don't know exactly, but it wasn't long. It kind of got delayed because I was having to make trips at the time back to my parents' house to help them, and I was flying out and driving out
Yeah.
to help them with some stuff. So we kind of had to push the closing about a month.
Hmm.
Um, but it was just a couple months from
Cool.
from that time. Yeah, it
Gotcha.
wasn't long at all.
Sounds like you probably could have closed in a month had you not had like the other stuff, going
Yes, I could.
on
Yeah,
stuff, which
yeah,
is great because with the creative finance, the turnaround time's so nice. So
yeah.
that's awesome. So last question: what would you tell someone who was kind of like you? They started out, they're doing the driving for dollars, and they're like wanting to get their first business. What kind of advice or words of motivation do you have for them?
I would just say stay hungry, stay diligent, and make sure that you set yourself up for success with a good deal.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
wouldn't just jump on something because you could jump on it.
Yeah, I mean, if it's losing money or breaking even, I'm not interested. Like I want to make sure
Yeah.
the thing's profitable. And you probably went through that process. You probably looked at the financials and made sure that the business was profiting before you know, gave him gave him the time of day, right?
Yes, correct.
Absolutely. That's what everybody should do. So common sense. But anyways,
Yep.
well, cool. Thanks for that. That's awesome. That's neat that you got that all in one. So keep me
Yeah.
updated on the rest of the ones that you get. When you get the second and the third, and eventually have all those businesses off this guy's hands. So it sounds like you made a really
Yep.
good contact with this guy. He owns so many of them.
Yep.
So
And that's all he's done his whole life. Like he's just owned businesses. He's never had to work for the man, and he loves it. He's just in such a great mood every day because he can do whatever he wants whenever he wants.
yeah, exactly. That's why I love it too. And that's why I tell a lot of people, I'm like, you'd be surprised when you're reaching out to these car wash and laundromat owners, how many of them actually own multiple businesses, like
Hmm.
multiple car washes or even multiple laundromats and car washes. So really good
Hmm.
contact you've made with this guy, especially because he's open to creative finance with all these. So that's
Hmm.
awesome.
Yeah. And like I said, the guy that I bought it from, he's so like open to help, like
Yeah,
everything. I mean, he's been there every step of the way. He answers the phone, you know, pretty quick every time. Like I told him I had a really busy schedule with my job, and he was like, you know, he didn't realize how busy, because he's like, man, I'll text you in the morning. I don't hear back from you for like 6 hours. I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty busy. But like I said,
yeah,
it's helpful having a guy up there that's living in that house, able to watch everything for me so I can focus on my job until I take over all his businesses. And so,
absolutely. Did he have a mechanic, or was it just kind of that guy working on stuff?
no, it's just that guy. And if that guy, he's an older gentleman, so if he can't work on everything,
Yeah,
but I'll just, you know, save it for when I go up there on the weekends.
gotcha, gotcha. Well, that's awesome. Well, cool. Well, thank you very much. You got my number if you ever do have a question about anything. Be glad to answer it. So,
Okay. I
but
appreciate it.
thank you. Have a good one.
You too.
All right, bye.
Bye.
I don't know what you wanted me to share exactly starting
Yeah,
with or
we'll just
whatever.
have like a just basically just talking like conversation, and you can just kind
Okay.
of briefly tell your story, like how you even got into it, and then what led from there, and then all the way to closing your deal, and we'll just kind of chit chat.
Okay. Yeah. So for those that are jumping on later, watch this video. So I'd seen, maybe you hadn't heard from Hannah on Instagram about car wash, and I was like, yeah, whatever. Like, how does she do it? There's no way I could do that. Like, well, good for her. But it's kind of sad. I mean, I don't want to say sad, but it's kind of weird because if you've watched Lord of the Rings, and not that I'm some geek on movie, but there's a part where Gollum with his ring. I don't know if he's like, oh my precious, and I was like, man, look at all those quarters, because it's kind of cool. It's like you're not at a bank doing it, and it's totally random, but it's just like I saw those quarters, like, okay, how does she do this? And so I started following, what you said, and then kind of the training on it, and I'd found a car wash that the guy had, older guy, but he had four of them, and they were a super wash. And with him, the only challenge was is he had all of these car washes like 45, 50 minutes away. So he's constantly driving to all of them. But that was his job that he ended up getting into. But just getting older, it's just a lot harder to maintain all doing it. And so that's when I reached out to him through one of the signs, which then it went to a realtor that never called me back. And so I just Googled it, and Google came up with that phone number, left a message. And then I kind of remembered, if you've done the training or people looked at it, you don't say how much you want for it. Hey,
Hmm.
can we talk when we go there? And is like step by step. It's like, yeah, let's meet. And so on that deal, I went and asked him, what's the story about it, and kind of, what are you trying to be at? And his location was good. The only thing that I noticed talking with a CPA is they, with their profit and loss of the last 3 years, it kind of declined a little bit, but that's because there was two other car washes that came in to the area that were closer to the interstate. He still had a really good location, which was near a shopping center, like it's called JC's here. It's like a Kroger version of Kroger. It's JC's, and so it's a great location. It's just this. I don't want to say what do you want for it, but kind of finally kind of pulled it out of him. And his price that he wanted was 525. So we were trying to fit those numbers. The only problem is it didn't really fit the numbers with his deal. And that's when I found this other one that was a little bit further away, about 15 miles. And the location was the same thing. It's right by a McDonald's. It's in pretty much the heart of this small town. So it's right there. I would say, depending on your listeners, that it's just like you said. I remember watching a video. You say, hey, I got a guy come out and show me what I need to do as far as adding the chemicals, putting on stickers to the little rotary dials. It's a lot of little easy stuff. It's time consuming, but I think the biggest thing that's not that hard to do is just managing the time when you're doing it. And it is fun, like you mentioned, even on the bad days, you're like, man, but you could be in an office, and I'm not that kind of person that sits in an office all day and it's like, okay, waiting for that, okay, here's my W-2 check that's
Yeah.
taxed. So
Right.
if you're not afraid of a little bit of work and being challenged, and you can do those steps like you mentioned, getting the seller financing, or it works out in your favor with a different type of program. I think it's definitely worth it, given for me another alternative source if something happens, because I have another job on the side, but if something happens there, I've got another backup that's mine. And long term too, what I've been watching different videos on other laundromat facilities or car washes, that the location too, as everybody said, location. Maybe one day if this, we get bored with it, maybe there's a franchise of, I hate to say it's Chick-fil-A or whoever that says, hey, we really like this lot. We'll give you X. So, I mean, I think there's also another play in it too, if, long term, or you could just keep it and expand on it, put other things to us.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, so that's kind of the story that I had.
Yeah, that's good. I love hearing that. So you went through the playbook, and did you do like cold calling? You start out doing driving for $1. Like, what all did you try before you made contact?
Yeah, initially it was like, okay, kind of like you said, look around. And I wish, looking back on it, like I didn't catch the Zoom, or not the Zoom, the loop.net till like after the fact. But also like expanding, because I think that you said do like an hour away or something. I remember just getting on the loop.net, another website, the Crexy
as well, yeah.
Yeah, it's just kind of getting ideas. And then the loop.net was already there because the numbers, but just going out and driving around the car washes where I found that one.
So you started out doing the commercial search engines and the driving for $1, a little bit of both there.
Yes. I would definitely say is look at the commercial one, like you said, but then also, like you said, drive, but then also figure out, that's what I guess what I was trying to get at too, was, see how far you want to drive too. If you don't mind driving, mine's about 15 minutes to 15 miles. And so it's kind of nice to just kind of go over there, like, what do I need to do today? And then when I leave, like, okay, what did I do? Did I do anything good today? Did I make an improvement? So that works for me. I don't know if people are like, oh, got to drive for another whatever. But I think it all depends on the quality of the wash too. If it's up, if somebody's taking care of it and then you update it too, then you may not have to be there every day, depending on your situation. But
that's why a lot of people do buy them, hours away or even in different states, because of the aspect of, if I hire someone to do the little daily tasks, I just need to come here once a week, once every 2 weeks, once a month. So that's nice. That's a very nice aspect of it. Cool. So, so I guess from the time you went through the playbook to the time you closed on your first car wash and laundromat, how long of a time span we talking did it take you?
I think we started, let's see, it was probably May, June is when I got the playbook and went through it. And then I was like, okay, thinking about this. So I'd be sitting there like either in the shower or driving, like, okay, how do I do this? How do I find stuff? I look and it's like, okay, just drive around. And that's where the kind of the website would have been better if I'd have thought about it sooner or paid attention and said, oh, loop.net or Crexy. But I just started driving around. So that was May, June, and then we closed in August 8th.
May, June, all the way to August. That's not a bad turnaround time at all.
Yeah, keys in the hand was August 8th. And we're like, whoa, what do we do? Because I don't even remember which key goes to what.
So you got your first car wash and laundromat. So how has that made life easier now? Going, for your financial situation.
Not, bragging or throwing out numbers, but I think with the laundromat being out only in function for 10 days of September, it's still, with all the cash sales, it's with the automatics laundry and the self-service bays, it was like still $5,500 cash.
Nice.
And that's with 10 days with only the laundry being functional. So I'd have to say we'd have to reattack it in October, end of October, to see like, okay, it's everything's fully up and redone, and to kind of get the exact numbers. But yeah, it's totally been, like, wow, here's all this extra, income per se. And then that didn't include the credit card sales through automatics. So I'd say probably
Wow.
October, be able to really know what it is. You're still going to have, things come up or whatever, but you think about it, it's like, all right, well, would you rather be like, hey, you didn't do this report, you need to be back to work at 9:00 a.m. and get off at 5, or be down there like yesterday? I was sending you those pictures of the crypto pay, and it wasn't. I mean, I was like, I'm not a rocket scientist. I was like, okay, here's instructions, and plugged it in, and it was like, it's still, I was like, okay, I don't know this. And I called them, and it wasn't that hard. Hey, take this wire, put it here, and then bam, now it's up and running. And it was like, wow, that was pretty cool. Like, I'm not an electrician, and it was just unscrewing a screw and putting in a wire and then turn it on. So, like I said, if you do those things, I think that's better than if you're that type or want to get out of, okay, hey, you need to be here till 5:00, or
you're your own boss.
Yeah. And then it's your own thing. If you want to make it great, then it's all on you. Then you can't blame somebody or say, I hate this,
Yep.
Because it's on you. So
yeah, and I like how you were talking about how yours needed a little bit of work done to it, because mine needed a little bit of work done to it as well. It was just outdated and stuff wasn't just up to my standards,
Right.
I tell people all the time, I'm like, I didn't come in there with 10 grand and just throw it at it. I would take a little bit of money out every single month and make something better. Like you said, even just little things like the decals and stuff like that, that goes a long way and can really improve the looks of the place. And it's not that, super costly to do that. So just coming in, even if it's one that is kind of a fixer-upper, it's even been abandoned, a lot of times the equipment's still there. Just come in and do what you can a little bit at a time. You don't have to have the whole thing looking brand new in 2 months.
Yeah.
And it's fun. Like we said, it's fun to do, and you can kind of make it your own, change the name if you want to. You got a new logo. That looks great. Yeah. So what would you tell someone who was, starting out like you were a few months ago and looking to get their first car wash or laundromat? What kind of words of advice would you have for them?
Yeah, I would definitely say, is you need to have a plan. So if you use it, and it's not a pitch for the playbook, but in a sense, like, you need to know, because otherwise you're just going to be like, oh, well, how would I do this? Okay, what's your plan? Hey, the seller financing, a way to get in there quick. And then I would not delay in doing that, like, because then you'll always say, oh, I wish I would have, I can do it. Well, it's always going to be an excuse. So you just got to, like, okay, I've got one nailed down, or I've got two that I'm got an eye on, and go after it, and then pursue it, obviously, with, tact, not like, hey, how much you buying? Which I would have probably done the same thing. Hey, I'm Tony. I'm looking at your car wash. How much do you want to sell it for? And then, like, the person on the line was like, click or whatever, versus go meet with the person, you interact, and find that way to ask them in a way that's, again, not how much you want, but like, hey, what maybe are you interested in considering selling this for, like you mentioned in your stuff?
All of the strategy, all of the, do it in order. It's like people will come in to the playbook and they start doing their own thing, and I'm like, we've tried it, we've tested it, and we know what works, we've refined it. So just, follow it, have faith in the strategy, like you said. Don't get on the phone and just release everything all at once.
Right, because they're just going to be like, whatever.
Well, thank you for that. I appreciate it. I think you covered pretty much all the bases, and I took a bit of your time. But
no, it's good. No, because I wanted to share, because like I said, it goes back to the video, watching it, and then kind of I remember the Maserati, and then this, and like, okay, I can't do that, and then jump on board, and it's like, what, and then what, and now I'm like painting a building and doing this and installing credit card readers and checking chemicals. So
life can change very quickly if you just apply the knowledge and like don't stop, and like don't let one no or 5 no's discourage you. Keep going. It's inevitable. If you don't give up, it's inevitable. You're gonna have your car wash.
Right. I agree.
A good deal. Thank you. I appreciate it. Keep me updated on everything else. I love like seeing all the different things.
Yeah, I will, just to show you. And again, it's not, for any of your listeners, not bragging, or it's just like showing you like, hey, I'm doing something. I'm trying to, make it better. And then if they're interested, or, like, it can be done and it's fun. So cool. All right. Well, thanks again for chatting. We'll be in touch.
All right. Thanks for your
All
time.
right.
Have a good rest
I'll
of your
see you
week.
guys. All
All
right.
right.
Too. See you. Bye.
Hi everyone, my name is Ekko and I am from Phoenix, Arizona. A couple months ago, I purchased Hannah's course really because I was interested in car washes and how to be able to acquire one. And I had purchased her course and taken it, and I got to work and was able to successfully find a car wash within 45 minutes of my house. We've taken into consideration and are evaluating some of the great information that Hannah has shared in her course on how to bring additional revenue to your car wash, all while we learn the intricacies of running a car wash. I am so unbelievably grateful that I came across Hannah's TikTok and was able to take her course. There's so much value jam-packed into her course, and it is well worth the money. I highly suggest it. The return that I got on my investment is beyond what I could ever imagine, and it's so nice to have some passive income coming in every month and to really feel great about the business that I now have. It's almost become addicting, where I'm out there looking for my next car wash, or to even apply this to the concept of owning a laundromat. So again, if you're just even considering it, I say go for it, because having this passive income stream and this sense of ownership is just really catapulted my entrepreneurial journey, and I just can't wait to find my next one. Thanks so much, Hannah. Love you.
Made me buy it. A car wash. Just bought a car wash. Well, 2 car washes. Hannah, you made me buy it. So anyways, shout out, check her out. Hopefully, you get in the car wash business too. Who knows? Not just 1, but also 2. 2! It is a done deal. Got the keys and everything. So here's the first quarter pool of the car washes.